there, Alina.
Um, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone is doing well and everyone's fasts are going well. And I hope you're all making the most of this blessed month, Ramadan. So, welcome to the Ramadan Summit. This is the final cherry on top for our Design Post-COVID Humanity program, based on the three virtues, Taruf, Ta'awun, and Tarahum, acquaintance, cooperation, and mercifulness. DPCH is under the umbrella of Maker Majlis, an initiative organized by College of Islamic Studies at Hamad bin Khalifa University in Qatar. To end DPCH with some inspiration, we are having a speaker a day for this entire month to enlighten you with their TED-style talk. I'm Alina Zaman, and I will be your moderator for today. And our guest speaker for today will be Jawaher Al Misned. She is a fresh graduate from VCU, majoring in interior design. Jawaher has been a sports fanatic since day one, and she has dedicated a lot of time and energy to her hobby. She has always seen a difference as a result of this opportunity, as she has met and collaborated with people from various fields. Jawaher's life philosophy is that every change that happens is for a reason, and challenges are set to guide us through life. Today, she'll be giving us a talk on adjustable to overcome. Over to you, Jawaher. Thank you.
Hi, Elena. It's nice to finally meet you, and Ramadan Kareem to all. So I'm going to start with a brief introduction of myself and this whole topic. My name is Jawaher Al Misned, a graduate from Interior Design Department at Virginia Commonwealth University in Qatar. I'll be talking to you guys about adjusting to overcome. So basically, this theory came in mind back in 2016 when I first took my anthropology class and really looked into human and behavior and how things are shifting and changing faster than we comprehend. The theory came to life and became more applicable when a global pandemic struck and COVID-19 introduced into our everyday lives. We now, as humans, are facing the changes, and history that was once studied is now in the making. So I truly believe that once knowledge and experience is explored, sharing it with others is a key to a development. So if I may share the screen. Yeah, I got it. I can share it. Thank you. So I'll start with this brief presentation that will guide us through this topic today. So adjusting to overcome. What is adjustment? So this is just a web search, you could say, of what is adjustment. Adjustment is a small alternation or movement made to achieve a desired fit appearance or a result. And another web search was the process of adapting or becoming used to a new situation. Now, I know saying adjustment has many applications, but I'd rather focus on two that has the majority of us tricked. So what is the first definition? It's basically going with the flow. And what do I mean with that? Thinking, firstly, that you're adjusting. A matter of fact, you're reforming who you truly are, either to fit with the current situation you are in, or is it to please people that you care about around you, and you're only doubting yourself? Another thing is a way to shift from your problems, so you're acting out a play that eventually hurts you. So what do you really actually get with this thing, going with the flow? You're gonna feel these three things that I can guarantee you would make your life way harder than you can expect. Okay, so if you go with this definition or going with the flow, do you feel, and I want you to reflect yourselves, do you feel burned out? Does your energy suddenly drop out of the blue? Do you feel like you're not yourself? Well, let me tell you, it's because focusing on these three things that we discussed about, turning the first definition into a habit would eventually drain your energy out. And more importantly, it's going to do yourself no justice. And this is where the theory drops in. The real definition that I found really useful in my challenges of adjustment, it's to basically adjust to overcome. So it has two parts to it. One is understand where you're standing in the situation. And it's more into self-reflect. And many people won't use the word really dig deep into you because you're going to face a lot of challenges right there. But I'd rather say reflect and confront yourself. And really dig through into why are you standing in this situation today to adjust to it. And secondly is adjust to your personal comfort. And what do I mean when I say adjust to your personal comfort? This is the most important factor in the adjust and overcome theory. And there is no use if you're not gonna go with this terminology of what comforts you as a person, because everybody goes into different challenges and different factors. So if you truly want to have the change, you really need to see your personal comfort, what you can give in, the percentage that you really could give out as an energy terms. And thirdly, overcome these issues. Of course, you're going to adjust to overcome issues or problems you face in your day-to-day life. And overcoming these issues, that would be so much easier once you know what you're doing, from where you're coming, and where you're leading this whole situation forward to. So you're going to ask me, Jawaher, if I do this, what is it catering to me? And I'd say simply these three factors. First, comfort that you deserve. Each and every individual lives a very hard life, and this is the road. You have a hard life, and whether you want to live in that hard life, that's your choice. And to make that hard life or that hard situation much easier, a comfort that you deserve is always pleasing. Second point, it's empowerment, knowing that you give in your best. And what do I know? What do I know about this? And what I would advise is that you detect what is your best, not the others. And lastly, a clear path. Your energy and mental health would be spent in a right way and in a right direction that you personally direct, which gives you a grip towards what you want to do next in the future. And these are just key tips to what you want to do and how you want to shift your life. In conclusion, I hope that this knowledge today truly shifts and changes in your day-to-day lives towards better outcomes and a clearer path to live in a way which you desire. Raising awareness towards your mental health is essential because at the end of the day, you only live one life, so live it to the fullest. And this is my advice for you today. Thank you. And I'm up to any open questions.
Thank you so much, Jawaher. That was a fruitful talk and very inspiring. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to open the floor. If anyone would like to ask any questions or give any comments, please unmute yourself and ask away. Is there? Okay, Jawaher, I would like to ask you. Okay, we'll go with you next. I would like to ask you. You mentioned about going with the flow.
Yes.
Do you feel that in certain situations we cannot always go with the flow? Like we have to be proactive.
Well,
and how do you feel about this?
Well, in this situation, I made it clear that like going with the flow is not a wrong definition. It's just a hard way to go with things. Because if I give you a problem today and I tell you to go with the flow, how long are you gonna drag this issue with you? Because going with the flow is misunderstood today. Going with the flow is something more of a fun term, I would say, that you go with the flow and you adjust and you live your day-to-day life. But let's say you have a problem or you have an issue and you're trying to adjust to this issue, going with the flow is no solution to it, in my personal experience. You have to as I said, confront yourself, reflect yourself, and then take action towards it that comforts you. So that's the easy way of like reaching a point or an understanding that I'm here, this is what I do, and this is what goes next. But going with the flow is a very limited situation, in my personal opinion.
Okay, and thank you. And do you feel like sometimes people are not able to figure it out themselves and they would need to reach out to people who will be able to guide them? So
Yes,
it's okay.
yeah, go on.
Yeah, so it's okay in like reaching out for people or for this assistance, for this guidance. So
And
they say,
yes, of
so they
course.
would know how to reflect in themselves, and as you just said, they would know how to implement this.
Yes, of course. Reflecting back to yourself is not limited to yourself only. Reflecting back to yourself is dealing with what you're doing and knowing what you're going to do next. And in terms of going and seeking help, this has always been and always has been something that people would do. And there's nothing wrong by going to others and asking help. But the key thing is that you're going to keep on asking for help. The true change happens within you. You cannot ask on and on for help and then just take this information and go back to the loop of going with the flow and not sorting your life, to adjust and overcome. And that's the mistake that people go into.
Yes, I agree with you as well. Like, this is how I implement it in my life as well. It's okay, like, for me to take advice, but at the end of the day, I am the one who has to make the final decision. If I can't help myself, no one else can. So
Exactly.
thank you for this. And now we will move on to our next question. Taekang, you can unmute yourself now.
There, Alina, also we have actually, maybe there's not a hand, but I can see Mr. Mohammed Al Misned also has a question. So if you can please like all the questions in a row. But I see that first, Taekang. By the way, there, Jawahar, this is Dr. Talk, the main organizer, and we are so honored to have you. I also have my personal question, but inshallah, after our esteemed guests have their questions.
Of course.
Looking at your reaction to Mr. Mohammed, I think he is your family member, so which is great.
Yeah,
so
I think he's my brother.
Okay, see, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. Like the kind of the communication and interaction we are creating within family, like in the community. Like this is the entire objective of Maker Majlis. Like it's a space, like the Majlis, it's local, but we are looking at the global and all different levels and scales. So anyway, sorry for this, like a kind of, I realize this is a very amazing dynamic going on here. So yes, Mr. Taekang.
Hello, thanks very much for this opportunity. It's a very timely topic, probably going to nickname you within this session as the woman with the probably the title of going with the flow. So probably if I'm going to follow you on Instagram and I probably try to say going with the flow, please try to just accept because you've taught me a lot in a very short while. This is my question. How do we try to go with the flow in terms of looking at the environment, which this environment could be a social, cultural, political, economic, and whatever factors that might be in play? The second question is, when it comes to age group, how do we go with the flow?
Okay, so that's two questions. I'll get them. So the first question, So of course, going with the flow, as I mentioned, is not wrong. And adjusting to overcome is a part of fixing going with the flow. Now, you'd say age group, which will fit quite rightly in your first question, political and economical and social. And these are all classes that we know of. Now, going with the flow is as how much do you want it to go with? Like, if I say there's a political talk that I don't really care about, I can go with the flow with it if it's not affecting you or affecting the general people around you. Now, let's say if there is an economical issue that is happening in your country, most probably you're not going to go with the flow. That's first. But let's say it's not affecting your country, it's affecting, let's say, something that is not of our call to talk about. We're not going to go with the flow. We're going to go with the flow, sorry. And we're just going to be okay with it. The moment it starts affecting you as an individual is the moment you need to stop going with the flow. Because there's a certain point you're going to hurt yourself and hurt your mental health by adjusting, by going with the flow, and not actually reaching to an answer. Now, about the age group, I can talk about my age group. And I think this is a very terminology that we use very much. Yeah, we're going to go with the flow. We're going to go with the flow. And then we reach this point that you actually don't know what you're doing, where you reached, and what's next. And this is the general mistake of going with the flow. Now, I'm not aware of older age groups. I can't talk about that, but what I'm talking about is something that I've experienced and people that are around me. And I hope my answer was good enough. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Now moving on to our next question. Muhammad Al Misned is asking, he first said, so proud of Jawaher. And he's asking, what was your biggest adjustment during the last year of COVID-19?
Well, the biggest adjustment was to be your neighbor. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, we're neighbors. The biggest adjustment was I'm an outgoing person. And being stuck at home was something really hard for me. I think all of you got this feeling that you're missing a friend and they don't text you back, or you guys got busy. And then you find yourself quite alone at this time, but since I just graduated, I feel like I've missed uni, I've missed gatherings, friends, going out, living like a normal human being. And I've adjusted a lot to that. I think that I've adjusted in terms of understanding the situation we're put in. So Jawaher, you can't go out and walk without a mask and live your life. And really tone down the level of the hyper in me into really looking into different habits. Like I started drawing, which is a habit that I had for years, but that I left because I've got really busy socially. I looked into things, I started reading more, I really reflected more into myself. And I think that was the biggest adjustment.
Okay, thank you. As you said, you're a sports fanatic, you're into sports. So did you do any sports during the COVID break?
Yes, of course, yes.
What kind of sports are you into?
There's so many, but I say my top two is football and paddle for now. And yeah, I played football with Muhammad himself. And paddle with the family as well. These are the two sports that I've been on and off with.
All right. Thank you. We'll take our next question from Sarah Fahim. Sarah Fahim, you may ask now.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. First of all, it's not really a question, it's a couple of comments that I want to make. First of all, sort of just echoing what everyone is saying in the chat, where we're just so proud of Jawaher. I work at the same university as Jawaher, so I'm super, super proud to see her here today and talk to us. I think the comment that I would want to make is that, and I said that in the chat already, is what I took from Jawaher's talk is that going with the flow is such a profound meaning, in that, especially now, where it just means adaptability. And I have seen that in Jawaher in the last 2 years, where, and she's already spoken to it about, how she's incorporated grace into the adaptability that she's shown towards changing herself as a person from an extrovert who's always out, wants to play and do, collective sport, into really just finding herself in this time and putting her efforts into her amazing project and interior design and all that. So I think what I have taken away from this talk is going with the flow just means adaptability. And that sometimes can be confining and sometimes can be very freeing, because adaptability is the name of the game, I guess. So to me, showing grace while you're going with the flow is the biggest achievement that a person can show during this time, especially. And I've definitely seen that in Jawaher. So, you know, the Akhlaquna Award and all that is just so well deserved to her to be talking on that front, because I've seen those qualities in her. And while I have the floor, I just want to say hi to Dr. Talk as well, because we collaborated some ages ago on some collaborative programming in VCUQ. So it's nice to see you here today. And well done, Jawaher, again. And thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Of course, like Sarah is our head of student affairs, and she got used to my headaches every single day. Joining clubs and doing clubs together for the university. So I appreciate your words. Truly means a lot.
Thank you so much, Jawaher. Do we have any other questions from the audience?
I would like to thank once again to their sister Jawaher. Like, I know this is a very tough time for all of us, and especially given that the COVID situation has been creating so many difficulties, challenges, and the emotional and attitudinal, let's say, stability of the youth is very important. So if we want to achieve, for instance, as you know, our Maker Majlis, sorry, not this way here, our logo shows that we are like into sustainable development goals, right? This is our aim. So we have been working on SDGs in different ways, but let's be honest, at the fundamental level, if we don't have our, let's say, attitudinal, aspirational, and emotional stability, if we don't really look at things on a broader perspective, then it's very easy to panic. So adjusting to overcome, or finding actually ways for us to situate ourselves as individuals on a longer path, it might, if we don't do that, we might end up being anxious people. Like, that is one of the reasons why panic attacks, anxiety disorders have been increasing, because people cannot see the future. They feel that the short term actually is just so kind of overwhelming and pressured. So not a question, but I just wanted to appreciate what Jawahar has been doing, and her message, and her role, and being a role model. Hopefully we can invite her again in the future to some of our other events. And also one more point, that during our Design Post-COVID Humanity program, we had a colleague who delivered sessions on mindfulness and resilience. And her sessions were actually primarily for an audience of entrepreneurs and innovators. Because if you don't have the resilience, and she has an amazing book, actually, Suzy Amado, she joined us 4 times. And I really like what you just explained to us with the title of her book, which was a emotional band-aid. So we always think of, when we have a problem, like a band-aid. We are trying to find a band-aid, like our emotional problems, but no, it's not the case. So what you are telling us today is that we need structural solutions to our emotional and like career like issues. So it's very, very important. So thank you so much for really like being with us today.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate this. And to touch the notes on everything that you've mentioned, that you need strategies on the way you need to deal with your emotional health, because at the end of the day, the message is to really take care of yourselves. Because at the end of the day, if you don't take care of yourselves, you're never going to take care of anyone else who are surrounding you, even if you care about them. And I hope that this was a beneficial talk to you guys. I kept it smooth and easy. And I'm open to any questions even later on. And it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
The pleasure was ours. And special thanks to Alina for the amazing moderation and taking the lead for today.
Thank you, Alina.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Jawaher, again. And thank you, Professor Talk. And we will see you all tomorrow at the same time, 2 p.m. So tune in, the same link. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.